Yeah, good morning everyone. Myself, Mr. Sankur Naresh, Associate Professor in Civil Engineering in Anurag Engineering College. Today I would like to explain about disaster management and mitigation. Actually, specifically I want to explain about there is a unit name called Environmental Hazards and Disasters. This is the first chapter in that syllabus. So here, what is an environmental hazard and disaster? First, I want to define that hazard. Actually, here. Actually, in the case of the hazard, the something is happen unusually and suddenly, but it takes only that is a small damage or damage. We can call it as an hazard. The damage which is going to be takes place for the maybe environmental and public and their properties. So coming to that disaster, the something is similarly it's the same almost the definition is almost equal, but the little variation is there here. So the disaster is nothing but something is happen unusually and suddenly, but there isn't a severe effect or severe damage is going to be caused for the there is an environmental and public and as well as their properties. Then we can call it is in a hazard and disaster. So I want to summarize again. Here hazard is nothing but something is happen unusually and suddenly, but the damage is very small for the environmental and as well as the people and their properties. And coming to the disaster, the something is happen unusually and suddenly, but it takes a severe damage to the public and environmental their properties. Then we can call it as a disaster. And then if you see that here this is in a first unit syllabus, environmental hazards and environmental disaster. Okay, and in S1 is in environmental stress and types of environmental hazards. And coming to that, there is a different approaches like human ecology, landscape approach, and ecosystem approach, and perception approach, and human ecology, and their application in geographical researchers. That means so many researchers they may done that there is a research on that particular item. Then I want to give an example regarding. So for example, geographical, there is an urbanization. So they want to go with that what is an area of the urban area is existed in the particular selected area. Likewise they want to search it, and then what is an economical growth, and likewise they want to search it. If we see that syllabus totally, that only the things here there is an hazard and disaster, it may be environmental and man-made, or and one more thing is environmental stress, and one more thing there is approaches like human ecology. So what is a human ecology here? So the human ecology is nothing but the study of the human behavior and their attitude and their characteristics. That is a comes under in a and their surroundings also. So it comes under in a human ecology. And then coming to that next landscape approach is nothing but we are going to be study about what are the features which is existed on the that particular selected land. For example, we are going to be taking Anurag Engineering College. A campus is around to 25 acres. In the 25 acres, what are the features are there? There is a canal is going on, roads are is going on, and gates is going on, and buildings are there. So likewise, the playgrounds are there. So likewise, what are the features which is existed? What are the human beings are existed? What are the trees are existed? Likewise, what are the features which is existed on the particular land? Then we are going to be study about all those things them from micro level to macro level, so that we can call it as a landscape approach. And coming to that ecosystem approach, it's nothing but in this ecosystem approach there is a producers are there, and the next one is a consumers are there, and next decomposers are there. After decomposers there is a nutrients are there, and then later next there is a this nutrients, there is a conservation is there. Again this conservation is going to be linked with that there is a producers only. That producer nothing but maybe sun, light, okay, water. These are all called the producers, and consumers maybe that humans are consumers, maybe animals are consumers. These consumers are classified into actually two types here. There is a primary consumer, secondary consumer, and maybe sometimes they are also considered the territory consumers. From the consumers, they are going to be go for a decomposers. What is the waste generated by the consumers? It can be decomposed, and then it is going to be become as a nutrients, and then it is made it as a conservative. That means we don't waste it. That what are the resources we have, then it is linked with it again the sun energy or the maybe producer. We can call the cycle of this one, we can call it is an a there is an a ecosystem approach. Maybe that sustainability development is also comes under ecosystem approach. And the next there is a perception approach is nothing but we are going to be studied about the that only the attitude and human behavior of the person. Then we can call it as a perception approach. And then we'll see that we'll go on enter into this one. And if you see here, there is an hazard. So generally we treat them, yeah, that something is happen, okay, something is happen that may be unusually, and maybe suddenly that damage is takes very less to the public and environmental and their properties. We can call it is in a hazard. So likewise there is a definition of the hazard. And next there is if you see here, there is a certain hazards are there. So in the certain hazards, if you observe here, there is a land get be polluted, okay, and some factories are releasing the fog into the atmosphere. Likewise there is a waste is going to be dumped, and it can be burned. So it is also creating the there is a hazards. Okay, so land pollution, air pollution, and then causes of environmental hazards. If you disturb the land, then there is comes under hazard. There is a creation of pollution also comes under hazard, and over pollution is also comes under hazard. And if you fill the lands with the waste, then it also comes under an hazard for the land, environmental. And deforestation, if you cut the trees, and then definitely it's become an hazard. But it's future it is going on like that, it may creating a disaster. And these are all the there is a causes of the environmental hazards. And the next one, if you see that there is a land disturbance. So I want to explain here the land disturbance. For example, in Anantagiri there is a certain places are there. So previously we don't have that much of population, but unfortunately now there is a population is going to be increased because it become a mandal. And then what is happen here, there is a lot of people is going to be grown, means there is a generation of waste is also can be more. So in that particular scenario, that there are disturbing the land for sake of constructing the new houses, and they are disturbing the land, they are throwing the waste into maybe outside of their houses. Likewise it may creating a land disturbance. It comes under one of the hazard. And these hazards, maybe what is happened, this is it's also comes under it's creating environmental stress actually. Okay, so this is a land here. Then this is called what I am discussing just before. This is one of the thing, there may be constructing new things. Then this is a land disturbance, it's also one type of hazard. And then next you can see that there is a pollution. So I will give one more example. There is a pollution nothing but nowadays we are going to be use that the bikes. Then through the bikes what is happening, CO and CO2 content is going to be released. And then what is happening is going to be creating the pollution in the air. And even though if you are cut the trees also, in lack of the oxygen, and then air pollution going to be increases, because the trees are consuming the CO2 content and releasing the oxygen content. So that the contamination is going to be more because of the deforestation. And also there is a noise generations also there, noise pollution, air pollution, water pollution. So likewise there is a different types of pollutions we have. These are all comes under a natural hazards. And then if you see here, there is a water pollution, you can observe that, air pollution you can observe that, And then likewise you have any different types of pollutions are there. Land pollution also, if you thrown the waste, and is over pollution. That means actually I want to explain this over pollution concept. If you use n number of bikes, actually that one bike is sufficient for you, but you are using n number of bikes, then automatically what is happen, that it may cause the over pollution. So there more population, simple meaning more demand for food, cloth. That means if you are using more food what you required, and then at the time also you got this over pollution. And the next one, if you see here, there is an overpopulation creating the over pollution. And then next one, there is a landfills. So the landfills is also nothing but nowadays what happened, that waste is going to be collected and somewhere else, then it is going to be segregated. And then what is happening, that nowadays they are going to be recycling the waste to generate the power also. From the dry waste we are going to be generating the power nowadays, I heard that. Okay, likewise what is happening, previously they are going to be excavating the soil, like land disturbing, they may done that. And then finally what is happening, the waste is going to be thrown in that particular land. Then later they want to fill it, land burying, they are going to be place space, that is land filling techniques. Likewise that is going to be openly place it, then it may creating the air pollution and as well as land pollution. When and also later it leads to create the water, groundwater pollution also, because if the rain comes at the time, then what is happening, it is going to be fall down over the waste, and then along with that waste that contaminates is going to be entered into the groundwater table, so that the groundwater table is also going to be contaminated. And then later what is happen, this reaction is takes place and acids are is going to be released, and finally air is also get be contaminated. Likewise there is a different types of this is also one of the landfill technique. This is what I am discussing, this in a pictorial representation for that. And then if you see here, there is a deforestation nothing but actually if you cut the trees, at the time what is happen, there is lack of oxygen. That means actually the trees are generating the oxygen, but unfortunately they are taking the CO2 content. We are releasing the CO2 content, and they are taking the CO2 content as in a food generation. But unfortunately if you cut the trees, then automatically what is happen, the source of oxygen is going to be reducing slowly, and then finally you can have a pollution, air pollution problems. Likewise what is the deforestation, to cut the trees, then it comes under a deforestation. Okay, and then it is happen whenever the population is going on increases to want to make them individual houses. At the time you can get this kind of deforestation. Now also you see that maybe Anantagiri is one of the example. At the time maybe 100 families are there at the time, but now it become 1000 families. Then what is happening, they are going to be cut the trees and they are going to be developing their individual houses. Okay, and the next this is representation for that, there is a deforestation. And then next there is a natural causes. The natural causes means we don't have disturbing anything, but unfortunately because of the nature itself there is development is takes place. That kind of things are is going to be takes place. That's earthquakes. Okay, there is cyclones. Likewise you got this kind of natural causes is there. This is about the types of hazards. I want to explain the types of hazards. Okay, and effects here, if you see that effects here, it is impacting on the human health, and loss of biodiversity, ozone layer depletion, and loss of the tourism industry, economical impact. This is about the causes and types and causes about the hazards. And maybe next video will discuss about the what are the causes and effects of the disaster. Thank you so much.